Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome today for Role Playing Thursday. We're going to do something a little different. This is going to be a pretty laid back video, and it'll probably take a little while. So just sit back, grab a drink, and we're going to make a character today using the Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition rules. You may know, if you're following me on social media, I did mention it, that I will be running a Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition game starting in March. I will talk about this a little more in the March monthly channel update, which will be out on the 1st, by the way. But I'm going to need to familiarize at least 2 and possibly 4 people with this process, which means I need to familiarize myself with this process first. And I figured maybe you would enjoy seeing that process. You're also going to see, although this isn't Classic Traveler, how this sort of very loose framework of character creation and random rolls creates story for the character. And you'll see how I kind of fill those details in. If you just mechanistically go through the process, you're going to end up with a sort of narrative, but it's kind of random. But it's very easy to overlay story on top of that. So let's get started. So I have the Game Master's most valuable tool going on here, Microsoft Excel. I've also got a little dice tower to roll dice on. I'm not going to do it electronically because we're not playing anything. And I got some 6-sided dice. Traveler uses only 6-sided dice. And I believe I will need to do both 1 and 2D rolls throughout the course of this process. So this is the Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition book in PDF. And there is a character creation flowchart. So I'm going to show you a little trick here to create useful play aids. I want to make a play aid out of this flowchart. So I'm going to print it. I'm going to go Control P to print it. And we're going to print only this page, current page. And we're going to make sure that our printer is Microsoft Print PDF, which if you have a Windows computer will be Windows 10 or Windows 7, I think, will be on there. I'm going to go OK. It's going to tell me OK. I'm going to save the file. Character creation flowchart. And now I'm going to wait for the file to finish. And then I'm going to open that file. And you see in Foxit Reader here, which is my PDF reader because I don't like to use Adobe products. I can just open it in a separate tab. And this way I don't have to keep flipping back and forth over here between those things. So the first part of the character creation process is that I need to roll 2d6 6 times for the character's characteristics. Now, I'm not sure it says that it's in order. I'm not going to look this up, but I'm going to do it in order, so we'll see what we end up with. For strength, we have an 11. Holy cow! Okay, I'm going to put these in as numbers for now, rather than UPP. For dexterity, we have an 8, so that's pretty good as well. Actually, I see Excel is thwarting me here. 11 is a B. So we'll call that a B for strength. So this dude's a Herculean looking specimen. We have an 8 for endurance. So physical skills wise, he's looking great. For intelligence, he is a 5, so not incredibly bright. For education, he is a 5. And for social, he has an 11. Okay. So I'm thinking right here, what does this say? So we'll put a B here as well. What does this tell you about the character? Okay, now this is an old technique, in fact, from D&D use this too, where you look at these characteristic scores and say, what does this mean? He's got a really high strength. He's got a quite good dex and endurance. He has got a really high social standing. His intelligence and education are below average. So to me, this says that this is some kind of rich dilettante type kid, possibly like a college athlete or something like that, who is in really great physical condition, but is not the sharpest knife in the intergalactic silverware drawer. So let's run with that. So we need to next, going back to this page here, characteristic modifiers. We need to figure out the characteristic modifiers for these scores. So B is 11, so that's only +1 still. +1. Education's going to be a -1. Scores of 5 are -1, 6 to 8 is 0. So these might change during character creation. So let's see what we have here. Citizen. I'm looking at the specialization, so I have to decide on pre-career options. Okay, but after that, I need to determine a career. So I think we're not going to be a military character with this individual, but I want to look at a couple of the careers first. So looking at citizen, the specializations are corporate, worker, and colonist. Not really what I'm looking for. Entertainer is artist, journalist, or performer. Now, performer encompasses professional athlete. So that's potentially interesting. And then let's look at the noble. The qualification for this is automatic if your SOC is 10 or higher, and mine is an 11, so it does. So we might end up going with this instead, with the dilettante fields. But let's look at pre-career education first. So we can try to get into university or a military academy, but I think we're not doing that with this character. EDU 7+, so we need to roll 7 or more. You can do this later. There's DRMs to make it harder if you do it later. EDU 7+, EDU modifier is a -1. So I am rolling. I have rolled a 6, 7, but I have a -1, so I have a 6. So that means this guy has pretty close, but tried really hard to get into college. And I'll put that in as a little note here. So let's put that here. He tried really hard to get into college, but he failed. I will put those down here so we can keep track of them. Down. I've prepared a little template here for Traveler characters. Now we have to immediately choose a career or submit to the draft. I think we're not going to submit to the draft for this character, so what we're going to do instead is choose the noble career. So let's go to noble. Now, we have to do a couple of things here. In Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition, we're going to this order is important, and this is different from other editions of Traveler. We're going to get skills, and that works differently in the first term than it does later on. And then we are going to make a survival roll, and then we are going to make an event roll. And then there'll be an advancement roll as well. So there's basically 4 rolls inside the term. So the first thing we're going to do is get our service skills. We're going to choose the noble. We automatically qualify for it because of our social standing. And we are going to get each of, because it's our first term in this career, we're going to get each of the service skills at level 0. So that's admin, advocate, electronics, which I spelled wrong, I don't care. Diplomat, investigate, and persuade. All right, we're going to fix that because it's going to drive me crazy, even if it's not driving you crazy. All right, and these are all at level 0. I'm going to leave these blank for now. I will put an actual number in here if we need to, but if not, then I will just fill the blank ones in with zeros at the end. We need to now make a survival check. Now, survival, we're going to choose the dilettante because this guy is a bit of a dimwit. Survival is SOC 3+, and we have a +1 for SOC, so I basically need to roll... I can't fail this, can I? SOC 3+. If I roll a 2, I get a +1. So this is I'll roll it, but it's an automatic survival. I got a 4. So he got himself into a bit of trouble. All right, let's put this down. Noble dilettante. Got himself into a bit of trouble. He almost failed the survival roll that he literally cannot fail. So that means something, right? We're gonna figure out, hey, I rolled really low on the survival roll. Maybe I came really close to getting killed, or conversely, maybe I rolled an 11 on the survival roll and I had a completely boring term. The term is 4 years long. So next, we're going to roll for an event. This is a 2 dice roll, and we've rolled an 8. A conspiracy of nobles attempts to recruit you. This guy is ideal recruiting material for that because he's kind of a dimwit. If you refuse, gain the conspiracy as an enemy. If you accept, roll deception 8+, or persuade 8+. If you fail, roll on the mishap table as the conspiracy collapses. If you succeed, gain 1 level of deception, persuade, tactics, or carouse. Okay, so let's say this guy, the honorable thing to do would be to say refuse, I think. But this guy's a dimwit, so we're going to accept. We're going to try and roll deception or persuade. We have persuade at 0. So I'm going to roll, and it's 8+. There is no modifier, right? There is no modifier. There's no modifier. He's got a persuade of 0, so he'll try and roll it. He has rolled a 6, so he has failed. So let's roll on the mishap table as the conspiracy collapses. He's been recruited into an ill-advised conspiracy. We have a 3. A disaster or war strikes. Roll stealth 8+. So let's make some notes here. All right, disaster or war strikes. Roll stealth 8+ or deception 8+. So there's this conspiracy that's trying to conspire to do something, right? And they recruit Mr. Dimwit here, and he maybe even does a couple of things for him, and the whole thing is about to get blown completely apart. Maybe it even does get blown completely apart as the press starts to dissect this conspiracy that's just imploded on interstellar TV. A disaster or war strikes. So we roll stealth or deception 8+ to escape unhurt. We don't have stealth or deception, so we'll just roll it anyway. And we have rolled another 6, so we have not, in fact, does that end my in the career? No, it does not. Okay, so we need to roll on the injury table. Where is the injury? There it is. All right, we're going to roll it. A D10, D6. We have rolled a 6, lightly injured, no permanent effect. So let's say a disaster or war strikes. There's been a major power plant explodes. In power plant explosion, and that swamped the news of the conspiracy out of the news for a little while, and thereby saving this dude's bacon. Okay, so we've rolled for an event. We need to roll for advancement. So the event will tell us. Let's look at that, actually. Go back to Noble. So the event will tell us if you fail, roll on the injury table. Does this mean... I don't take this. I guess as a game master, I would say let's kind of roll with these rolls as it comes. Does this mishap cause you to have to stop progressing in this career? I'm going to say no, unless this is going to tell me something different. Let's look at this here. Because I feel like it's going to tell me that if I can't continue in the career. Because some of these things do. No, I'm not seeing it. So for the moment, at least, I'll get clarification on that for the next character. Let's keep going. We need to roll an advancement roll. That's a 2-die roll. Advancement is int 8+. He's a -1 int, so he needs a 9 or better. He doesn't get it. So no advancement. And that's it. So there used to be a re-enlistment roll that you had to make in Classic Traveler, and maybe even as recently as Mongoose Traveler First Edition. That's been built into the advancement roll now. If you roll equal to or less than the number of terms you've served in the career, then you may not continue anymore. If you roll a 12, you must continue. He will opt to continue. So next time, second term. So we got this guy's a noble. He's a noble. We're going to try and get a skill. Now, there are 6 skill tables for each career. We can choose any of them that we qualify for. So we can choose the first 2, personal development and service skills. Anybody can pick those. You can also choose the table that's relevant to your specialization. Mine is dilettante. And if you qualify with an EDU depends on the career. In this case, it's 8 or more. I think it's 8 or more. Is it actually different? It is. It's different by career. That's very interesting. I had never noticed that before. I don't have the EDU to roll in advanced education. So let's go with, I feel like personal development is where I want to go. Dilettante is also, now the first term you got to pick just the service skills at 0. For subsequent terms you get to actually pick a table and roll. I'd really like gun combat, or frankly blade combat would be equally useful. And very noble-like. But Jack of all trades would be super helpful, too. This guy who's read a little bit about everything. On the other hand, this guy's a dope. So let's go with personal development. We have rolled a 5, which is indeed gun combat. Okay, so that's fortuitous. So we have gun combat at 1. So he knows how to use a pistol, so because he's bored. All right, so skills. We roll for survival again. In this case, SOC 3+, we cannot fail this roll unless there's some kind of special thing. So this time, let's roll it just to see what we get. We get another 6, so he's probably gotten himself in a couple of uncomfortable situations here. We now roll for event, which is on the next page. We've rolled a 7. Life event. So this will send us to the life events table. Where we will roll a 2 dice, and we've gotten a 4. Ending of relationship. A romantic. He's being romanted. That's fantastic. A romantic relationship involving you ends badly. Gain a rival or enemy. Let's make a note of that. Now, notice it didn't say that it's the former lover that's now the enemy. It could be the former lover's current lover who is the enemy. It just says it ended in an ugly way. All right, so we rolled for survival. We took the skill. We rolled for the event, which was this thing. And now we roll for advancement. Advancement is an 8. Int 8+ would normally make it, but I have a -1 int, so that isn't happening. So let's go for a 3rd term of noble here. After 3 terms, so after the first term, the guy's going to be 22. I've said he's a guy. I actually don't know that, but let's roll with that. After this roll, he's going to be 26, and after this roll, he's going to be 30. So we're going to do 3 terms. We're going to go for 3 terms with this guy. So let's now, for the 3rd term, we automatically qualify. Let's roll for the skill. I've got my gun combat 1. So the way the skills work in Traveler, in this edition of Traveler, different versions of Traveler will have a different range of numbers. Is skills really kind of top out at 4. If you're a 0, you have like a real basic understanding of that field. So in terms of like, think of it like if we, for example, take the medic skill. If you have a level 0 in a medic skill, that means you are trained in first aid. You can, if somebody cuts themselves, you can put a band-aid, put a bandage on them, some spray anesthetic, that type of stuff. If you have like number 1, skill level 1, that kind of equates you to like being a combat medic. You're not a doctor, maybe you're an EMT. You're not fully trained in medicine, but you know more than the average person, considerably more than the average person, and you can perform life-saving tasks. If you're a 2, then that's like full but basic professional competence. So you're either like a nurse practitioner or a doctor. If you're a 3, you're an experienced professional, and if you're a 4, you're probably like a well-renowned expert in the field. So this guy's got gun combat 1, so he's pretty good with a pistol. That doesn't necessarily mean pistol; it could be rifles, but whatever. We can work. This guy seems like a pistol type guy. All right, so we need to pick skill for 3rd term. We could pick service skills, dilettante. We're gonna go with the dilettante this time. Let's roll it. He has rolled a 3, which gives him flyer, which is actually kind of cool because he's rich and bored, and that is a hobby that a rich and bored person would have. We roll for survival, which again we cannot fail. This time we rolled a 6, which is not super duper low. Let's roll for the event. 2 dice. We've rolled a 5. You inherit a gift from a rich relative. Gain +1 to any benefit roll. Okay, so we're going to go with that, and we will we'll get to how benefits work in a moment here. So advancement. Let's try for advancement one last time. We have a 6. That's not high enough. So our rank here, as you can see, is wastrel, which is pretty fantastic. If you're a level 6, rank 6, you get to be a scoundrel, which is pretty awesome. The dilettante is somebody who's literally a rich kid who's fucking around. So the administrator and diplomat career paths here inside a noble have like actual titles. The dilettante does not. All right, so we got that. We got no advancement, and we're going to try and muster out. We rolled a 6 on the advancement roll, so we're not forced to continue. So for benefits, we have a benefits table, which is right here. All right, we did 3 terms. We got no advancement rolls. We got 3, therefore we got 3 benefits. So let's double check that to make sure that I'm doing it right. We'll go back to here. Muster out page 44. Okay. You get 1 benefit roll for every full term. Extra benefit rolls if you reached a high rank, which isn't the case. Okay, so none of that applies. And looking at the rank he got to, which is 0, he doesn't get any special skills for that. So we get 3 benefit rolls. Now, there are 2 tables on which you can roll the benefit rolls. You can roll on the cash table or the benefits table. You may only apply a maximum of 3 rolls to the cash table. So I think what we're going to do is we get +1 to one of the benefit rolls. We're going to roll 2 on the cash table, and we're going to roll 1 with the +1 on the benefits table. So for cash, we have a 6 and a 5. Holy cow. So that's 100,000 and 100,000 credits. So he's got 200,000 credits. So that's something. And then +1 to this roll, which is a 2. So +1 gives him a blade. That's lame. I kind of wanted either the yacht or the sock +1. So what we got here, and so I think what we have here is a relatively interesting character. Certainly, if this was a character I was playing, I probably would have gone a couple more terms, not necessarily in the noble career, or I would have tried to, sort of fear his path off. Maybe he starts to become a more serious individual at this point and tries to get an administrator position, which I think you have to requalify for, by the way. I'm not sure about that. But what we have is, I think, a relatively compelling narrative that emerged from these roles. We have a completely functional character. And let me just add these skills up. So this guy's got a total of 8 skills, 6 of which are at level 0, and the other 2 are at level 1. This is a perfectly viable traveler character in this system. You're not rolling constantly. It's not the kind of system where every time you do anything, you have to roll the dice. In fact, I intend to invoke die rolls as seldom as possible. Certainly, if you get in a gunfight, that's a little bit different. But this is a completely viable character. I think he's relatively interesting. Up here, I would name him. So we'll call him Mardok of Frangelo, I guess. And I'll write this background up. This gray area is where I would find a picture on the internet and drop it in here. And then I could write this background up as this guy's a rich son of nobility who doesn't take any responsibilities very seriously, and who has gotten himself in some trouble. Certainly, this is not the most entertaining backstory that I could possibly have come up with for this character, but he emerged naturally from the system, which was the whole point of the video. So if you want to see me do more of these, I'm considering doing it because I need more practice with this system. So please mention that in the comments below. Please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.